Today, we are going to be talking about launching a podcast, lessons and learnings from season one. So it's going to be super low key and just a really fun chat between Jess and I.
Yeah, I thought it would be fun to do a live debrief of our first season. If you didn't know, this is our last episode. We're going to be taking a little break for the holidays. Rachel, if you didn't know, she's involved with a nonprofit and they get very busy around turkey time. So we're going to take a little break for November and then we'll have some exciting things, maybe some special bonus episodes around December. And then we plan to get back into the real swing of things after the new year. So my idea kind of just to go through each of the phases of bringing this bad boy to life. And I think it'll be interesting because Rachel and we like chat a little bit via Slack and a little bit after each episode, but we really don't like chat too much, not as much as I thought we were going to have to do, which I don't know. Maybe that's because we're like really good at planning and working on remote teams, but we'll see.
Yeah. We also keep a lot of the good stuff for the actual episode itself. So a lot of maybe the pre-conversations you hear before we actually kick off into an episode. That's me and Jess like reconnecting, seeing how the week's going.
No, didn't miss before this episode is we were both talking about how our air conditions broke. The joys of living in the South and fall. It is still hot. We still need air conditions. All right. So getting into it, I want to just start about like starting the podcast out. Like maybe I think you can listen back to the first episode if you want to know why we started it, how we met, like really the background. But I think I really wanted to get into like, what are some of like the feelings you had going into the podcast? And were they realized or were they just like unrealized feelings? How did you feel about when we were first getting into that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Of course, like I would say the biggest feeling was like imposter syndrome, right? Like no matter how woo I consider me pulling my cards, there's always room for improvement to run your business in a way that is like we're super intentional. And I think that as we're building that, this is like the truth and fully uncensored and unfiltered here is that I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to be like revealed as we're preaching this like intentional living, intentional building of a business. And then we still have all these major gaps. But I think that's like the reality of a lot of businesses where it's like getting closer and closer to alignment for a business and an intentional business is key. And like perfection doesn't exist, right? It's just always a work in progress. So I think that was like my initial fear. And then my ultimate realization was like, we're all on this journey toward getting closer and closer towards the alignment. But yeah, I don't know. Did you have any sense of imposter syndrome when we first started?
I don't know if I had, maybe I have yeah. But once we get talking, like this is conversations that we would have, the conversations we're having here are conversations that when we did connect, we would have anyway. So I just feel like we're chatting with a friend. I think more of my fear around it was like, I know how I am with like committing to things and like my tendency to procrastinate. So my ultimate fear was like, am I going to be able to keep this up? Am I going to have to flake out and let Rachel down midway? Like, I didn't want to do that. But what I really realized was like how good having like a collaborative partner because I work solo is for me. Like, I know that I struggle with self accountability. So, if anything, this has just proven to me more that maybe it would be beneficial for me to hire a team member or maybe always be working with a one on one coach, like someone where I have to like show up and answer. It's the same way for me with like, working out. Like, I'm not one of those persons that can like row on a video and just like do my workout myself. Like, I have to have someone like judging me and like making me do it. So I think that's like really what I learned to myself is like, if I want to get something done and stick to it, then I need that like grounding force of accountability next to me, making it happen. And then as far as
I totally resonate with that.
Yeah. And then as far as imposter syndrome goes, I think we just did a really good job of like releasing the pressure of like perfectionism. Like I think our only goal that we talked about, like of course we have further intentions, but for this first season, our only real goal was just getting it out there. Like we didn't like say we have to have this many listeners or we have to like do this many. I think we knew like how many episodes. It was like, we're going to commit to doing 12 episodes and see how it feels. And that was like our only commitment to each other. So I think that's what made it easier for me.
Yeah, I think one of the tricks that I allowed myself to believe was like, nobody's gonna listen. So why put all this pressure on it? And, like, I just looked at our stats today, and I'm very proud of us with how many, like, downloads we've had, like, over the whole season and everything. I think just in a matter of psyching yourself out, that's the only thing that really allowed me to be like, "Okay, we're not gonna overthink this. We're just gonna show up," because I have the same thing as far as committing and following through. I have struggled so much, like, just keeping consistent on, like, social media or anything like that, even with my email list. Like, I get it. I know email marketing is hard to stick with. And I'm very proud of us. I really am. I'm so proud of us.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So that was about starting out. And then the second phase of getting this out into the world was planning. And I really feel like this is where we both shine. And because we're so good at this, I think, I mean, Rachel's only completely honest. Like I think our like production, post production, recording, like whole process went really smoothly. But it's because when we decided to do this together, we sat down and had a project planning meeting where we went through and like discussed goals, discussed intentions, discussed processes, like brain dump like our cadence and how we would and like, set up our little Notion project page. So I feel like that really helped set us up for success and make this process less stressful than I thought it would be.
Yeah, we both definitely leaned into our own strengths. Like, I allowed, like I said, this notion can't keep it up, but Jess said, "Don't worry, I got it." And then, like, social and posting and, like, all of that stuff, like, we really did allow it to sit where it shined with either you or with me, and I think that, like, obviously, that's, like, the goal of a successful and, like, seamless business is, like, not doing things that feel more like a burden or kind of go against the grain of, like, how your energies are, like, naturally. So, yeah, I totally agree. Like, the planning, I think, was so much fun because it felt easy for us.
Yeah. And I think really just having like, we had brain dumped episodes and ideas. And I think we both want to get more intentional with like the exact episodes that we're recording for next season and have a more of a plan and outline going on with that. But like, at least we had a cadence, like where if you haven't noticed yet, we're doing like operational marketing, entrepreneur mindset, spiritual tools, all that stuff. Then like one, two, three. And I think that really kept us on track. I also think I don't really brag like everyone should have like a podcast partner, but like because we do share and go back and forth, it's like I don't have to show up every single week like ready to roll because I know sometimes it's like Rachel's time to shine. And then like the next week it's my turn where I need to come prepared. And I also think knowing ourselves, our busy schedules, really giving us like that runway of episodes. I think we recorded 4 or 5 episodes even before we
Mhm.
even started, which that gave us the space. We could have launched the podcast a month earlier if we wanted to. But I think having that runway of episodes where it's not like we have to do it right now gave us the space to like, if Rachel needed to watch her nephew or if I needed to get my car fixed, or if we just like some weeks we literally got on here, we're like, we're just not feeling this week. Like we've had a busy week. So I think giving yourself that runway of episodes and that bank of episodes, like we use them all up because we're recording this 1 week before our 12-week like episode ends next
Yeah.
1 week before. So it's like knowing like maybe we even want to give ourselves like a bigger bank for next time, but we definitely use them all up. And I think that's definitely something we should continue.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's crazy because I was sitting here thinking, I was like, wait, are we done recording? No, we still have one more. And what episodes have been like released and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of, we did create a cushion for ourselves to allow life to life and noted for the future, make a big cushion. Cause even today, I was like, oh my God, the AC is out. I can't record a podcast all sweaty and everything. We got to get it out.
Getting it out, sweating and everything. All right. So then scripting and like just like creating the overall content. I think this is probably one of our big opportunities that we want to go after for next time because we do want this to be very like casual and conversation like, but we also want like people to walk away with like value and know what they're going to
Yeah.
get too. How do you feel?
Yeah. I feel like one of my biggest reflections of the episodes and the topics that we did was that we stayed very like general topics. So customer journey. There are 100 layers to a customer journey, but we stayed like overview level. And there's so many components that we did the same thing for. And so I think like next season, you can definitely expect it to drill down a little bit further and have more actionable things that you can walk away with. Like we hope that season one was super educational and maybe like you can take a topic and have a better understanding. But next season, I really think we want to kind of an immersive like experience and like fully like the next step in your learning. So what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that we did initially and then we kind of away with was like setting the intention for each episode. Like, what is the promise to the listener? What are they going to walk away with? That way we like know what to share in order to like give them that value.
Mhm.
I think going back and maybe when we do like our season two planning is that like we not only decide the topic, but also decide like what is the promise to the listener, what is the promise to the listener? And then maybe also, because we haven't started to do this, like, how do we tie that into like our individual business goals? Like, so that we
Mhm.
are using the podcast to move our business forward. We want to give value too, but we also want to make we're investing at least 3 hours of our time every week into this. So we're going to make sure that we're connecting it to our bigger goals so that it stays intentional and it's not just like extra fluff we're doing just for fun.
Totally. Yeah, I completely agree. I love the intention thing. And I don't know why we fell off of that. I think we just started jumping in and like hitting record and then allowing it to take over. But yeah, like 100% that's coming back and really making sure in the outlining process we're doing that.
Yes. All right. So this is really I mean, we can talk about it, but our people might want to know. I know I wanted to know, but our recording like equipment, software, production, all of that. So we started with Zoom and then we realized once we went to TikTok that the quality of Zoom was really poor.
So bad.
Yep. So it was really bad. So we switched to Anchor, which I don't know, it just was not intuitive for me. I know people love Anchor, but editing just seemed difficult. I already used a script a lot and paper to script. So we, in the middle of all of this, Descript bought Squadcast, which is what we're recording on now. I just think is really important when you're going to pick your tech stack for anything to make sure that it can integrate together as seamlessly as possible. What I love about our our tech stack in particularly is that I can just click a button and export this recording straight to Descript. You don't have to download it, re-upload it, do all that stuff because just this is owned by Descript. And then when I'm ready to publish to our Descript we use to edit, we use it to cut our clips for TikTok and Instagram. There is a big learning curve. We're navigating through like that with the script. And the script I think is going to be great, but they have updates every single day. So it's definitely a platform that's still building and growing. But I just love how easy it is I don't think I would be able to edit a podcast without the script because you can just like take out the
Mhm.
text and it automatically edits the video for you. So love the script for editing. And then our host is Captivate, which I love the analytics that Captivate has, but also it integrates directly with the script. So I can just post straight from Artiscript to our Captivate, which makes it even better. We use Canva for things like that's our other tech stack. And then another tech thing, I don't even know if Rachel knows that I use this, but there is this app called Marketing Magic that's like chat
Mm.
on steroids, where basically you put like your whole business, your brand, your voice, your everything in there. And then it takes your transcript and your business and kind of merges your voice. You give it like writing samples. And I've been using it to come up with the titles and the show notes, which I really think
So good. I'm like, oh, this is magic. And I didn't even have to think of it.
literally it takes me because I feel like that I know because I work with other podcasters, like how long like writing those show notes and the title and all that take. Literally, it takes me, I think the whole like post production of me editing it, uploading it to Captivate, figuring out what the title's going to be, figuring out the show notes is like, an hour tops, which is great because most of our podcasts are like 30 minutes to an hour. So I really love that, Jack.
I have one more software that we need to add that I haven't
Yeah.
told you about this yet, but repurpose.io. I've started
Oh,
dabbling with that and using the workflows in there to take the TikTok, showing my age here,
the TikTok.
age, the TikTok videos and put them on Pinterest and Instagram and now YouTube Reels. And so really embracing that automation side of things to ease that. Essentially what it was like the labor side of things. Like I had to outsource a lot of the reposting and the repurposing and all of that. And so now instead of spending that on, hours for a VA, I can now just pay into a platform, build out some flows. And now this is like the simplicity of it all and the consistency of it all is there too. So that is new. We're
Love that so
definitely going
much.
to play
I have
around with
to
that.
use that as well. And the
Yeah,
encouraging giving
we
news.
need to go over it after the call because I need you to log into YouTube for it.
Yay. Yeah, we're going to talk about YouTube. Something we use is like, we just wanted to keep it super simple. Rachel uses our AirPods. I use Robo. And if you watch this on YouTube, I basically have an AI camera that follows me around. It's very high depth, so you can see all my wrinkles and stuff. And I definitely miss that Zoom filter for sure. Yeah.
We're definitely going to create a clip where all of the times that your camera just pushes over
Started
here or
moving
over
around.
there.
Yes,
Gonna
I
be
did figure out how
hilarious.
to turn it off today, so he is no longer on. But yeah, and I think because I think that YouTube is going to be a big growth platform for us, I might invest a better light, get some better lighting going on for next time. But our equipment works. I don't think you need anything too fancy smancy right now. But you let us know if our
Yeah.
audio sucks, and we'll try to fix it.
Yeah, please give.
Yeah. All right. Launching, this is really Rachel's zone. So launching, promoting, building an audience. What are your feelings
Yeah,
about?
I think what we ended up doing this time was like super low key. So it was all promotional based, like for the episode. So everything initially, I was like, okay, we're going to have one reel and one post per episode. But when you're trying to grow accounts and build audiences, like you need more cadence going. And so we started doing like more mini clips of each episode and trying to bring in not we're not like a bunch of listeners at the moment. So on audiences on Instagram or TikTok, we want to give them a taste of it and really allow them to kind of like experience the podcast before they commit to like adding us to their shows or anything like that. So really making sure that some of those like video pieces were super cohesive and I like captivating and all of that. So definitely we were very low key. I think next time in the next season or even maybe in this off season, what we'll probably do is put a little bit more about us in there, a little bit more about what interests us, like things that maybe we would want to post but that wouldn't be posted on our own business accounts, but things that can like easily live on the Instagram or on TikTok. So I think that'll be fun to do. And then trying to grow the account on TikTok, like obviously you have to do a lot of like different like outfit of the day is like one of the ideas that I think is going to be really cute for next season and like really making sure that we're coming up with content outside of episode reels or episode like snippets and everything like that. With planning, it's going to be easier. This season, let's get it out. Let's see how people respond and let's do it. I think looking back at like how people responded in the audience, we have people just now naturally following us on Instagram without any form of I followed them first or follow for follow kind of thing. Obviously, we didn't do that, but I mean, like just like our normal business friends coming in and liking us. So we're getting new people into the audience, which I think is really exciting. And
I know it's a lot of work too, so we have to figure out how to get that divided evenly. But also, I think YouTube, we haven't really utilized YouTube too much for it. And that's definitely my fault because I was just post some episodes. But I think now that we'll have a week off, using like the hours that I would be editing to get like all the old episodes queued up on YouTube. Rachel and I can discuss, I think, posting them like maybe like the next, we have 10 more to post on YouTube. So posting them maybe 10 days straight to see if that will help give like a boost of blistering along with like and like a YouTube blitz. I love all the old like TikToks and stuff that we have just to try to grow that. rapidly. I do believe that the type of business owners that we're talking to, just from my own personal channel, I feel like they're on YouTube searching. I don't know how many people like go on TikTok and or I mean, they're wanting like the level of people that we're talking to, like our
Yeah.
busy videos. Like I feel like YouTube is where they go to like find their tutorials and that sort of thing. So I'm excited to grow our subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah. I think that's gonna be really fun. I've never dabbled in YouTube before, so it'll be a big learning lesson and like just a new experience, which I'm super excited about. But I completely agree because I feel like I am part of the ideal client. Both of us are for who this is built for. And I get everything on YouTube,
Yeah.
YouTube University. So I completely agree. Like that's definitely a new phase for us. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I even had some ideas. I love how we're like just bringing ideas on each other. I had some ideas about, I know, like I want to help you to set up your Notion. I want you to help me set up my email. So I think doing like longer, like work with me, like or build with me kind of things together on that channel will give that channel like some different content. But like that's the stuff that I nerd out and watch. Yes, I sit there and watch people build Notion like platform.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I need help with
All right. So, lessons learned, anything you realize, big takeaways, advice you've had for somebody else who wants to start their build podcast.
Oh my gosh. Intentional, messy action is what I would summarize season one, but like with a hyper focus on planning and execution. Like those were our two components of we didn't know what we didn't know, but we still went into it without any fear and we pushed forward. So I would say that's the messy action side, but we like leaned into our strengths, which is the planning and like accountability to execute. So I definitely would reflect back on that. Season two, I'm like pumped for it. Like I've already dropped in ideas in our Slack channel. I don't know if
Oh
you saw those
my gosh.
about season two ideas. And it's going to be amazing. And for people who are maybe like, this is like a podcast was on my to do for about a year. And the universe has always kept Jess and I very universally aligned. And so I think that this kind of like made us take the prompt. But if you don't have a Jess in your life, or if you don't have a Rachel in your life, it just go into it and just post it. What's the worst that happens? Nobody listens.
I think my biggest takeaway as someone who for the past couple of years, because I got burned by programs and coaches, have tried to like just do it by myself. This has kind of inspired me to get back into like community, maybe at least maybe not pay, but find like an accountability partner or find like, I don't know, a little
Hello, I'm signing up.
mastermind or mini mind, like create my own so that I have someone to answer to because when you're doing anything new, like whether it be launching a podcast, putting a new product out, like things are going to get uncomfortable. They're going to get scary.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be, I know it can be so helpful to just have someone there that's like holding you accountable to make sure that you do it in a compassionate and understanding.
Totally. I know. This was so much fun. I'm so excited. I'm already like, when's our planning session for cute
I
for
feel like we should
season
do,
two?
like our weekly Fridays until we figure we're
Yeah.
doing weekly stuff now. Let's just figure out our weekly so and I think we also have decided that we're going to merge our talents and do at the top of next year a kind of planning. Rachel and I both offer like planning sessions. So we're gonna merge like her marketing planning session with my operational planning session to just give you a really good plan to jump into the new year. So if you're interested in that, make sure you follow along because we'll be posting that opportunity as well.
Yeah. And if you've liked season one or if you have a favorite episode, please and subscribe or add us to your favorites to follow us. Leave us a review on Apple if you would love to do that. And just we're grateful for your support because this has been so much fun. And I'm blown away by the amount of people that listen. I had my expectations very low, but I think we're nailing it.
Yeah, we're nailing it. All right. Till December, we are rooting
We're rooting